Okay, evaluate the following trigonometric expressions. Show how you use the unit circle to determine a solution. Well, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be looking for versions of pi, 2 pi, or maybe even 2 pi, well, not 2 pi, sorry, or 2 times, really for 2n, and I can't write an n to save my life, huh? Let's try it again. 2n times pi, right? So what does that mean? Well, you go around 1 revolution, that's 2 pi. You go around 2 revolutions, that's 4 pi, so that would be 2 times 2 pi. You go around 3 revolutions, 2 times 3 is 6, that'd be 6 pi. So that's kind of the thing that we're looking for. So let me go ahead and give it to you. So sine of 13 pi over 6. Well, my denominator is 6. So if I'm thinking in terms of pi, so pi for a denominator of 6 would be 6 pi over 6. And then 2 pi would be 12 pi over 6. Well, let's look at what we got. We got 13 pi over 6. So that means I'd want to have sine of 12 pi over 6 plus pi over 6. Say that 12 pi plus pi, or 12 plus 1, would give me 13 over 6. But this right here, 12 pi over 6, translates to 2 pi plus pi over 6. And what does that equal? Well, 2 pi, so that takes me 1 revolution, and then I hit pi over 6. Sine of that is 1/2. So now I'm looking at cosine of negative 5 pi over 3. Well, not really a negative pi over 3. So let's think about it like this. Let's think about it like cosine, and we're going to apply the negative after the fact. So let's just look at 5 pi over 3. Do you understand why we did that? Because what are we going to subtract to get to 5 pi over 3? Well, if we subtracted pi, so this is, if we're looking thirds, so we've got pi, that's 3 pi over 3, right? Well, what if we got 2 pi? That's 6 pi over 3. But we've got a negative, so how are we going to subtract and get something like that? Because all that we've been doing, right, has been having a positive pi or positive 2 pi. So not really going to get too much with that. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to pull out the negative, and we're just going to focus on this for right now, and we'll leave the negative on the outside, right? So I've got to get 5 pi over 3. Well, that looks like 2 pi minus um, theta, right? Because if 3 is in my denominator, that means 6 pi over 3, or 2 pi, right? Minus pi over 3. That is going to give me my 5 pi over 3. See, 6 pi minus 1 pi is 5 pi. So 2 pi minus 3. So I'm going to have cosine of negative 2 pi minus pi over 3. Excuse me. So now let's think about what that means. Well, let's go to, oh, so if I'm looking at cosine of 2 pi minus theta, which is 2 pi minus pi over 3, is positive. So all of this right here is going to be positive. So that's going to be cosine of negative pi over 3. And so then what does that mean? Well, we just looked at it. Oops, not that one. Cosine of negative theta is cosine of theta. So cosine of negative pi over 3 is the same as cosine of pi over 3, right? So cosine of pi over 3 is positive 60. That is 1/2. Okay, ran out of room, sort of. So 25 pi over 4. Let's think about that. Excuse me. So I got tangent. Well, fours. Let's see. Well, 4 goes into 25 6 times because that's 24. So that would be 24 pi over 4, which is 6 pi, right? Well, what did we just say about this here? Yep. So if I've got 2 times n times pi plus theta stays positive, same for cosine and tangent. So I've got 24 or 6 pi plus pi over 4. So that's what I got, right? And that stays positive, right? So it's going to be tangent of 6 pi plus pi over 4. And that's just going to equal tangent of pi over 4, which equals 1. The reason I know it equals 1, because if I look at tangent, or if I look at sine and cosine of 45 degrees, it's the same value. So the square root of 2 over 2 divided by the square root of 2 over 2 is 1. So let's see. What's next? Sine of negative. Excuse me. Okay, so sine of negative 3 pi over 4. Well, let's say sine of negative 3 pi over 4. Well, if I go back, I know that sine of negative theta is negative sine of theta. So I can change this to negative sine of 3 pi over 4. So what does that translate to, though? So that translates to negative sine of, well, let's see, in force. Okay, so if I've got 4 pi over 4, and I subtract pi over 4, right? So that's going to be negative sine of pi minus theta, or pi minus that. So let's see what that equals. So sine of pi minus my theta is positive. So this is going to be positive. So that's going to be negative sine of pi over 4, right? So that's going to be sine of pi over 4, which is the square root of 2 over 2, but it's negative. So this right here, that is going to be negative square root of 2 over 2. Whew, and I'm tired. Let's do let's see. So cosine would be similar, right? So I would take um, cosine negative 5 pi over 6. And as we can see from right here, cosine of negative theta is just positive cosine of theta. So the negative is pretty much going to go away. And I'm going to have cosine of 5 pi over 6. And so now I'm trying to get 5 pi over 6. Well, that looks like that would be cosine of 6 pi over 6 minus pi over 6. You see how I get 5 pi there? And that equals cosine of pi minus theta, and cosine of pi minus theta is negative cosine. So that's going to be negative pi over 6. No, pi over 6, sorry, 30. So that's going to be negative cosine, right? So that's going to be a negative square root of 3 over 2. Wow, this is looking terrible. So that was E. I said was cosine of so that is going to be, let me just say negative. So yep, that's going to be negative. Sorry, a little brain fart there. So that's going to end up ultimately being negative cosine of pi over 6, which is 30 degrees. And cosine of that is the square root of 3 over 2, but it's going to be negative square root of 3 over 2. Okay, let's do one more, and then we'll call it. And let's do it over here so we got some room. So I'm going to go sine of 17 pi over 3. 17 pi over 3. Well, let's think about what that equals. Well, since I'm working in threes, I can say, hey, what about 18 pi over 3 minus pi over 3? Wouldn't that be 17? And that is 6 n times pi. So what is that? That's going to be we know that's going to be positive sign, right? 6 pi minus pi over 3. Oh, wait, that doesn't work, does it? Because the value that we got, it's plus. So that doesn't work. So nope, can't do that one. Wow, this is turning to be really fun, isn't it? So that doesn't work. So let's see, what else could I do? I can't say 18 minus 1, but what can I say? That's going to be some version of 2 pi n plus theta. I could go 15. No, I can go 12 because see 15 doesn't work because 15 is an odd number. I need 2 pi times n. So we're going to go with 12 pi over 3 plus 5 pi over 3. So that's 12 plus 5, that's 17. And 12 pi over 3, that's 4. And so that's 2 rotations. So now we got to deal with that. All right. So sine of that is just positive sine. So now we've got sine 5 pi over 3. So now we got to work it back the way we worked the other 5 pi over 3 back. So I've got sine of 5 pi over 3. I can think of stuff that adds or subtracts in this one. So I could say 6 pi minus pi over 3. So I'm going to have sine, or not 6, yeah, 6 pi over 3 minus pi over 3. So that's going to be 2 pi minus pi over 3. Now, of course, I'm running out of room again. So I'm looking at 2 pi minus theta. So if I've got positive sine of 2 pi minus theta, that ends up being negative theta. So with that being negative theta, that's going to be, not negative theta, that's going to be, it's going to be negative sine, sorry, not negative theta. That makes a difference. So negative sine of negative sine of pi over 3. So what is negative sine of pi over 3? Well, 60 is the square root of 3 over 2. Well, negative sine of that means we're dealing with negative square root of 3 over 2. Ooh, that was a lot. If this is way too confusing, maybe I'll go back through it in class. All right? All right. Yeah, well, I'm tired now, so we're going to take a break from that.